Let's move on over to Ronda Rousey, who is about to embark on what's going to be a very noteworthy book tour. Her book, Our Fight, is coming out in a couple of weeks. It's like next week or the following week. I should be getting a review copy of this any day now. So I've not had a chance to read the book, but I will be. And it sounds, based on the excerpts that have been released and then this interview that she did, she's writing this book with her sister, who is a journalist, Maria Burns Ortiz, and the two worked on her first book back in 2015. And this is going to heavily cover her time in WWE. It's going to focus on her previously undisclosed concussion issues that she had going back to judo and withholding information throughout her career about concussions and such. And it sounds like she is going scorched earth on the WWE culture, and in particular, Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard. And not surprising, given that tweet a couple of weeks back about Bruce Pritchard and being Vince's avatar. And yeah, if I'm Bruce Pritchard, let's be clear, Bruce Pritchard has not been accused of anything. Not two names, though, you care to be linked with when you're talking about Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis in this current climate and news cycle.
Certainly not.
Some of the comments that Ronda had that we do have up on the story was asked about kind of rivalries in MMA and how legitimate they were. And she did say, I originally just started them for publicity, but those other bitches did not get the memo, and so they became personal. And in WWE, it's all fake. I love them, except for Bruce Pritchard and John Laurinaitis. They can go fuck themselves. That's real. And when asked like where she held back in the book, the only thing that really held me back was the number of words I was allowed to have in this book. We were contractually held to 9,000 words, and I was going to talk so much
90.
more shit. 9,000 words.
It says 90 in this quote, at least.
Okay, I copied something else. 90,000 words. Yeah, 9,000 would have been a very quick read. 90,000 words, and I was going to talk so much more shit, especially about John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard. But our editor said we had to streamline everything and not take a detour on the fuck these old bastards quest. Maybe that should be the name of the book tour. The fuck the old bastards quest. So there was a lot more to it, but I had to basically get down to the meat and potatoes in this. So, I mean, this certainly sounds like this will be the selling feature of the book, is a prominent name that is going to, you know, when it comes to people in the industry getting a lot of attention for their book releases, Ronda Rousey is going to get a lot of attention. I think it is extra powerful that this is also coming from a female in the WWE. And that the fact is, we have talked about the amount of people within the industry that have sort of kept the distance from this news story and speaking out. And it's going to come down to people that have no illusions of going back to WWE in the case of Ronda, or people that just do not care in the sense of Bret Hart. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting about how deep she goes in, because she is not just painting like isolated incidents here. Like, she is talking about an entire culture when it comes to the way women have been presented, talking about like casting couch culture, and even like bringing up Saudi Arabia. That is going to get pushback from Ronda, who was somebody that right before that Crown Jewel event, right in the wake of the Jamal Khashoggi murder, defended WWE, stating it would be the wrong move to not go to Saudi Arabia. But that also does underline, like, when you are in the company and kind of towing the company line, it's just now we clearly see this was not something that I think Ronda had much conviction with back in 2018, or at least not now.
Well, I'm curious to see if she answers that directly in the book or in any of these media interviews following. I think it has been pointed out how it might seem on the surface kind of hypocritical that she would be so, critical of the WWE now that she's outside of it, yet was willing to accept that paycheck for years. Seemingly had nothing really bad to say. Well, while she was with the company, is this simply capitalizing on, a very anti-Vince McMahon, anti-Bruce Pritchard, anti-John Laurinaitis sort of news cycle? Or does she truly feel these things? I think she has at least some of that to answer for.
Is it fair to, because that is how this is going to be painted, of somebody that we, like, when you are in the company, people are not going to jeopardize their standing in this company. And I think that there is at least some understanding that people have to, like, it does kind of just show this industry that you have to be pretty much removed from it before you can feel comfortable enough to speak openly about it. But But yeah, there is going to be like some criticism here. I'm not going to go as hard on someone that opted not to say this stuff while in the company.
But I also don't think Ronda is the type of pro wrestler that would have had no choice about not going to Saudi Arabia. You know,
Yeah,
plenty
absolutely.
of people have chosen not
and
to
to be fair, like maybe those were her views in 2018. But I mean, in this statement, it's hard sometimes, or where is it? Pay-per-views held in major cities like New York, LA, and Philadelphia, as well as now twice a year in Saudi Arabia, a nation that restricts the rights of women in a way that I'm certain Vince McMahon wishes he could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting read of all the wrestling books coming out. And it'll also be interesting that you're going to have both Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch with these books and on book tours at the same time. And I think you're going to get very different experiences in WWE. And you're going to see the counter of somebody that is in the WWE system and is presented very well, and someone who is now out of the system. And just based on these excerpts, I mean, maybe there is some positives that she has of her time in WWE, but of what we have seen, it's a very negative portrayal of the company. And yeah, I mean, it's a prominent woman that is speaking about a culture that is very much under the microscope of its treatment of women in its entire history.
And positive or negative, both could be valid, you know, experiences. Becky Lynch has, at least in her comments about everything that's been going on, had said that she's had nothing but positive experiences with the WWE, and I'm assuming including with Vince McMahon as well. That could be the truth. And what Ronda Rousey is going to say in her book could also be the truth as well. But we never got that singles match between these two. But now we're going to get
this is the head-to-head match.
The head-to-head
WrestleMania season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.